Hi, everybody. Welcome to the broadcast. Our phone lines are open for you at 1-800-684-3110. That's 800-684-3110. And we're taking your calls from around the country. And, boy, are we getting phone calls, and so is NBC. They're getting phone calls because, and our television audience is with us here, which is great. They're getting phone calls because they edited out the phrase, under God, in the Pledge of Allegiance. They gave a patriotic open to the U.S. Open, the major golf tournament this past weekend, but they left out under God. And first they said it was not intentional. They also said, though, that these are the virtues that make America great. But they intentionally removed the major virtue that makes America great, the recognition that our liberties and freedoms derive from God. Now, they've issued another statement saying they are looking into this. They're investigating. But, Jordan, they're refusing right now to say that they will run the Pledge of Allegiance intact in the future when they do this. So they're doing this investigation, trying to basically blame people underneath.
Yeah, they've got Chris McCloskey, who's the Vice President of Communications for NBC, which, by the way, is just a press official. He's not like an executive person. He said, "We understand your concerns over the beginning of our U.S. Open coverage on Sunday. We're aware of the distress this has caused many of our viewers and are taking the issue seriously. A decision was made by a small group of people." Key word there. A decision was made, not an accident. A decision was made by a small group of people to edit portions of the Pledge of Allegiance. They call it a bad decision, and that people's outrage is justifiable. This is all in the new statement that came out yesterday evening. At the same time, what did they not do in this statement again? They never said the words that they deleted. They have still not even mentioned God in any of their apologies.
All right, now Logan is in here also, and we talked about this yesterday. Logan, you said that a decision like this, because you've worked for major networks before, is not made by some guy in a booth somewhere.
Right, no, you can't blame the editors. You can't blame even some of the producers probably. What happens is there's a standards and practices committee, and usually on almost every major network, and they decide what's appropriate for air. They really review almost everything that's put out that's prepackaged. So someone had to go in, and I honestly don't think they thought that this was due to try to offend Christians. I think they're actually doing it to try to protect themselves and say, oh, we'll edit it out so we don't offend anyone, and it just really backfired on them.
Boy, did it backfire. And again, it backfired. Initial reports were they were doing it because they didn't want to offend their international audience, but instead they've offended most Americans who are so upset about this. We're taking your calls at 800-684-3110, but let me say this, folks. We've got to get an apology that is more than just, oh, we're sorry this happened. We've got to get a statement saying the Pledge of Allegiance with the phrase under God stays intact. We're sending a letter of protest. Thousands of you called us yesterday. You go to your phones now, 877-989-2255. Sign on to that letter of protest, 877-989-2255 or aclj.org. Again, take a stand for the pledge, 877-989-2255.